On the tropical island of Sri Lanka, a baby elephant takes his first steps. Little Loka is barely an hour old, but he's about to plunge into Asia's biggest elephant gathering. Drawn by lush pastures, hundreds converge. Loka must navigate bath time with giants. Learn how to use his trunk, and try to keep up with his herd. It's a special start in life for a baby. But this elephant party must eventually end, and Loka will follow his family out into the unknown. In the heart of Sri Lanka, the largest land mammal in Asia is on the move. An annual elephant pilgrimage follows ancient paths worn into the ground through centuries of migration. Slowly, the numbers build. Driven by thirst and hunger. An urge so strong, some travel over 120 kilometers to get here. For Jaya, a 25-year-old female, the journey is complete. She's walked more than 80 kilometers in 2 weeks and has made it just in time. Jaya's in the early stages of labor. After 22 months of pregnancy, the longest of any animal in the world, she's about to give birth. Jaya heads off to find a secluded place in the scrub. Her closest female relatives by her side. Her baby will be born into the protected forests of Mineria National Park. This wildlife sanctuary lies in the heart of Sri Lanka. 90 square kilometers of forest and grassland, surrounding one of the largest reservoirs in the country. 2,000 years ago, Sri Lanka's rulers built this lake to capture the monsoon rains. Knowledge of this oasis, where fresh grass flourishes throughout the dry season, has been passed down through generations of elephants. As the dry season begins, it becomes a magnet for hundreds of water birds too. It's now June and temperatures are on the rise. Two hours after disappearing into the forest, the elephants trumpet the arrival of Jaya's baby. Newborns are usually kept well hidden. But just minutes after giving birth, Jaya emerges from the forest with her herd. And the newest arrival to Mineria National Park. A little male. This is Loka, just over an hour old. His umbilical cord still bloody. Loka's wobbly on his feet, but it's vital he stays standing and quickly finds Mum's milk. At this age, he can't see much. His eyes are still adjusting to the light. But he can feel and smell. He searches for Mum. But it's a bit confusing with his auntie so close. A helpful nudge from her sends him in the right direction. But he still can't quite work out where milk comes from. Jaya waits patiently while Loka keeps searching. At last, he finds Mum's nipple. But latching on is another challenge. Jaya uses her trunk to keep his out of the way. And finally, he suckles. This first milk, known as colostrum, is crucial to Loka's survival. Like all mammals, it contains vital antibodies to stimulate his immune system. Jaya's sisters and other female relatives crowd around the infant, offering protection. Together, they prepare for Loka's first night out on the grasslands. Sunrise in Mineria National Park is the signal for the elephants to return to the forest. They've spent the night out grazing and now need to shelter from the hot sun. During the middle of the day in June, the mercury often hits 32 degrees. The elephants aren't the only ones keeping cool in the shade. Mineria is a haven for over 170 species of birds and mammals. A herd of spotted deer feeds alongside a troop of grey langurs. These two species often hang out together. The more eyes and ears on the lookout, the better. Golden jackal are often on the prowl. Jaya doesn't need to worry about predators. There's nothing here that can take down an elephant. Her biggest concern is making sure she gets enough to eat, so she can produce enough milk for little Loka. By late afternoon, the heat subsides. It's cool enough to head back out onto the grasslands to graze. But it's a bit more crowded out here today. Already, nearly 40 elephants have arrived, and these are just the early birds. Over the next few months, 300 giants will journey here. Known as the Gathering, it's the largest congregation of elephants in Asia. They're drawn here during the dry season to graze on the reliable supply of fresh grass. This annual gathering creates some surprising bonds that extend beyond the traditional family herd. Elephants typically live in small matriarchal groups of around 5 to 10 related females and their offspring. But here, many have built long-lasting friendships with other families. These two 5-year-olds from different herds pick up their play fight right from where they left off last year. This large bull usually keeps to himself, but the gathering is a chance for him to enjoy a holiday fling. Standing 3 meters tall at the shoulder and weighing in at around 5 tons, he's easily the biggest male here. And when it comes to elephant love, size matters. He also sports a rare set of tusks. Only 7% of Sri Lankan bulls are similarly equipped. He's quite a catch, but not for Jaya. She's keeping Loka well away from lumbering males. In just 24 hours, a lot has changed for her newborn. He's now mastered his feet and follows Mum's legs wherever they go. Right now, they're leading him towards the lake. Elephants love to bathe and can learn to be excellent swimmers. But Loka's first encounter with water is a gentle one. Jaya keeps him safely in the shallows. He can't swim yet, but he'll learn soon enough. One of the perks of being in an area is the chance to head poolside every day. It's a great way to cool off. And get dirty. Mud provides the ideal sunscreen for the elephant's sensitive skin. The trick is working out the best way to get it onto every part of the body. The large tusker has this down to a fine art. Others opt for a more immersive method. And for those who want an extra layer, soil is the final dusting. Caked in this muddy concoction, they're protected from sunburn and insect bites for the rest of the day. Little Loka's managed to get a good layer over his baby pink skin. And now it's time for a meal. At his age, he's suckling every hour, and Mum tries to make it easy for him. He'll be totally reliant on this milk for at least 3 months, drinking up to 10 litres a day. It's a lot for Jaya to produce, and like all adults, she spends most of her time eating, consuming around 135 kilos of vegetation a day. As June rolls into July, more hungry and thirsty elephants converge on Manaria, their numbers hitting triple figures. They are consuming a huge amount of vegetation. Eating the short grass that grows around the lake requires a special knack. Step 1 is to give it a good kick, loosening the roots. Next, use the tip of the trunk like a hand to gather up the juiciest stems. Finally, a good thwack to knock away the dirt. The result, a delicious mouthful of food. Their grazing attracts a few resourceful locals. Grass hides insects and other tasty grubs. The elephant's feeding technique is the perfect way to flush them out. These cattle egrets have got their timing down to a fine art. With such easy pickings to be had, it's a good idea to stick close and enjoy the ride. Manaria's tufted grey langurs prefer to stay in the shelter of the forest, where they feast on all sorts of leaves. There's plenty to eat here, but they also need water. And that requires a trip to the lake, nearly 500 meters away. The alpha male makes the first move. These agile climbers are equally comfortable on the ground. But it's a good idea to keep an eye out for danger hiding in the grass. Leaving the safety of the trees is a big risk. On the far side of the lake, a golden jackal family is on the prowl. A monkey would make an excellent meal. But the jackals are downwind and haven't spotted them. The langurs make a run for it while the going's good. Almost there. A quick head count and a check on the enemy. They seem suitably distracted. Time for the final move. At last, a well-earned drink. But now, they've been spotted. Best to hurry back to the safety of the forest. Three weeks pass, more elephants keep arriving, and Loka settles into daily life at Manaria. He still sticks close to Mum's legs. Loka's bond with his mother is the most important relationship he'll have in his life. It will be at least 8 years before he's independent from her. Raising a calf is a lot of work, but Jaya will get plenty of help from her female relatives. Today, it's her 5-year-old daughter, Layla's turn to babysit. Layla won't be a mother herself for another 10 years. Minding her little brother is a great way to practice. A gentle nudge encourages him along. These boulders are just a small step for an adult. But for tiny Loka, it's a much bigger hurdle. Layla guides him to an easier section. She's determined to get him over this hump, even if it takes a little bit of delicate persuasion. Finally, with Layla's help, he makes it. These daily challenges are important life lessons for little Loka. Just like human babies, elephant calves learn through experience and problem solving. Over the next few months, Loka will develop the basic skills he needs to survive. When the monsoon rains arrive in a few months' time, Loka's family will leave the protection of Manaria. And life away from the park isn't so easy. By late July, nearly 200 elephants have gathered in Manaria. The party's now in full swing. Other wildlife also descends on this much-needed oasis. Hundreds of water birds rely on the lake for food. Some, like the sandpiper, are here for a summer holiday, flying in from chilly Siberia. Others, like the cormorants, live here all year round. This lake is a fishing bird's paradise. Grey herons use lightning-fast reflexes and spear-like beaks to make a catch. Painted storks have a more sweeping approach. Paddling feet stir fish straight into their beaks. There's plenty to go round. As the day heats up, Manaria's largest residents keep cool in the forest shade. But one guy is braving the heat. This 30-year-old bull has just come into must, a state of heightened sexual excitement and aggression. Urine trickles down his legs, and glands on the side of his head secrete a pungent, hormone-rich substance. It's a personal cologne that advertises his strength and prowess. Females might find it attractive, and other males should take it as a warning to stay out of his way. But this other bull is also in mast. Their testosterone levels are a massive 50 times the normal amount. The extra hormones make them extremely aggressive. With no tusks, each uses his body weight and muscle power to try to overthrow the other. The aim is to assert dominance and gain better access to the females. This battle's proving hard to win. These bulls are too evenly matched. It's a truce. For now. Following their daily rhythm, the herds emerge once more to graze as afternoon temperatures begin to cool. Little Loka's now 5 weeks old and is just beginning to get the hang of his trunk. Mum makes it look easy. Doing it yourself is another matter. Loka can't chew yet. And all this standing around and not eating is exhausting. Time for a nap. At this age, Loka sleeps about 5 hours a day. Twice as much as Mum. Jaya lets him snooze. But only if he keeps up with the herd. Sleep is crucial for a calf's brain development. But Loka's caught someone's attention. This youngster is intrigued. Loka could be a fun new playmate. It's just a matter of waking him up. But Loka's really not interested in playtime. Sometimes it's best to just let sleeping babies lie. By August, drought has taken a firm hold on central Sri Lanka. Last year's monsoon rains were far below average. So this dry season is crippling. Across the region, trees are dying. And the plains are baking in the relentless heat. Tired, thirsty, and desperate to escape the harsh drought, more and more weary travelers pour into Minaria. This oasis is now a haven for over 250 elephants. Loka's 8 weeks old, and these days he is in the mood for playtime. The gathering is the perfect place to make friends. Play is a crucial way for Loka to develop his social skills and personality. He's growing into a confident toddler, not shy about wrestling with the older kids. But his hungry tummy doesn't let him stray too far from Mum. He's still totally dependent on her for every meal. To keep up with the demand, Jaya needs to make sure she gets plenty of food too. If she doesn't eat enough grass, her milk will dry up. And competition has recently arrived. Hundreds of water buffalo seek refuge from the drought. With so many visitors, the park is starting to feel overcrowded. And the grass is beginning to wear thin. Elephants are natural roamers. When food supplies run low, they simply move on. But with the drought drying out the region, there's only one other option. 16 kilometers to the north lies Kaudula National Park. Another man-made lake has transformed this area into a grassy oasis. Constructed 60 years ago, hundreds of drowned trees still dot the shoreline, a memory of the forest that once was. This reservoir is a great backup for when Minaria gets busy. Jaya's herd and some of the others decide to make the move. But getting there means crossing dangerous ground. A busy highway cuts between the two parks. Elephants on the road always cause a stir. But all this attention is confusing for the herds and makes the crossing even more perilous. Cars and elephants don't mix well. A solitary bull forges ahead, stopping traffic. For Jaya's family with babies in tow, it's a lot more complicated. Loka's never seen anything like this before, and he could easily panic. He's so small that if he gets hit by a vehicle, he'll most likely die. Crossing the road is the only way to get to Kaudula. It's a risk Jaya decides they must take. A break in the traffic is their chance to try. Nestled between the giant bulk of Jaya and an auntie, Loka and another youngster make it across to join the rest of their herd. But night falls before they reach their destination. This is Loka's first time away from the safety of the park. The herd could keep walking. They're comfortable traveling at night, but little Loka needs to cool down. A specialized night camera reveals he's glowing hotter than the rest of the herd. Elephants lack sweat glands. Instead, they control their body temperature by storing heat during the day and releasing it when it's cooler. Youngsters are often more active than their older relatives. And with today's excitement, Loka's built up a lot of heat. Thousands of capillaries circulate blood to the surface of his skin and radiate heat away. The family takes the chance to get some sleep. Standing up. Adults can survive on just 2 hours worth of cat naps a day, one of the shortest sleep patterns of any mammal on the planet. Dawn breaks over Caudula. A family of bee-eaters is already busy with breakfast. The buzz of juicy insects fills the air, attracted by swathes of rich grasslands. It's an elephant's paradise, and at last, Jaya and her family arrive. They're surrounded by fresh food. The trip was worth the risk. And Loka's got a treat in store. Well, sort of. Mum's dung contains vital bacteria to help break down plant matter. Loka needs these microbes to kickstart his digestive system, so he can eventually eat grass. Getting her dung in his mouth is a bit hit and miss. He's still working on his trunk control. But he manages to swallow enough to do the job. It won't be long now until he can try the real thing. The grass here needs to last until the monsoon arrives, which isn't likely to be for another 2 months. As the drought intensifies, more elephants follow Jaya's example and make the move to Caudula. The large tusker has also made the journey, and he's stirring up trouble. He's just come into must and is on a testosterone-fueled search for love. Females only come into heat 3 times a year. The tusker uses his trunk to check if any of them are ready. It's all about timing. Unfortunately, none of these females are receptive. On the other side of the lake, a younger male is having more luck. He's found a female in heat. But she's not terribly interested. Females typically choose a mate based on strength and size. And despite his obvious enthusiasm, she doesn't seem convinced this little guy's the best option. She's going to hold out for a better match. With hundreds of elephants converging for the gathering, she can afford to be picky. There are at least 15 eligible bachelors here, all keen to prove their worth. While these two battle it out, behind them, the female has already found her partner. She flirts with this larger bull, her swishing tail an invitation for him to move closer. He doesn't need to be asked twice. Mating is somewhat awkward for the 4-ton bull, but he only has to keep it up for 30 seconds. She'll be in heat now for a couple of days, so he might stick around and mate with her again. By September, the gathering has been building for nearly 4 months. Numbers are now at their peak. 300 elephants jostle for position at bath time. It's a spectacle seen nowhere else in Asia. Loka's now 12 weeks old and has graduated to deeper water. He's getting more confident in the pool and spends every afternoon testing his buoyancy. The park has been the ideal nursery for little Loka, but his days here will soon be coming to an end. A rumble of thunder heralds an early monsoon storm. By mid-September, the rains arrive. The deluge brings much-needed relief for the elephants. And in the space of just a few hours, over 50 millimeters of rain falls. Water coming from the sky is a new experience for little Loka. He sticks close to Mum. His sister Layla has witnessed the monsoon before and knows just how to behave. Loka soon gets over his first-time nerves and follows Layla's lead. But his overexcited sister is not on babysitting duty now. It's safer to wallow out of harm's way. The mud brings out the playful side in most of the elephants. But the rain's done nothing to dampen the tusker's ardor. He's still on the search for a mate. In Kaldula, the sense of relief is palpable. The drought is over. This storm is the first of many that will roll in over the next few weeks, soaking parched plains and bringing dry water holes back to life. New shoots will appear, and across northern Sri Lanka, food for the elephants will flourish. Once again, the herds can roam beyond the park's boundaries and disperse across the country, retracing the paths that their ancestors have trodden for thousands of years. By October, Loka and Jaya are some of the last elephants remaining in the park. He's now 14 weeks old and is getting the hang of eating grass. Loka's time at the lakes has given him a head start in life. He's had a chance to find his feet in a land of plenty. Now he's ready to take the next step on his journey. With Mum leading the way, it's time to explore the rest of his world.